common question that people ask is this all there is to life? And of course I've got to answer, what do you mean, is this all there is? First of all, what we know is that there's time and space, at least these two things, if not a million trillion other things in between. And this planet has been around for 14 billion years, humans for 3.7 billion years, and I suppose a calculation I'd go with most is that they've been around 120 billion people, which are human beings that have a physical side and some kind of soul, that have journeyed through this planet. And what we've got because of these journeys that all these other people have taken, and of course the 8 billion people who are taking the journey with us now, is that there are similarities, there are patterns to how life unfolds for children, for teenagers, for adolescents, and even people in old age. So if we look at these patterns and structures and stages, what we can get out of it most is a knowing that something is going on, that there is a reason for our existence on the planet. And one of them that I get out of looking at the stages of life is that we are becoming more and more conscious. We're also getting somewhere. We're opening up. We're not closing up. We're breaking open. We're breaking through. We're coming back from situations in our lives that have devastated us, that have caused us to stay stuck for many, many years, and we've overcome. And there is method to that madness, because if we have overcome, become wiser, moved from fixation on the physical all the way through to the psychological, emotional, and spiritual, then something wonderful is happening to us, and we might not even know or be conscious that it's happening unless we take a closer, contemplative look. We start off in life obsessed with the physical. Just go and look at any teenager out there, and it's a difficult time of life. We're either too tall or too short. We have ears that are too big. We have eyes that are too far set apart. And there comes a fixation of trying to manage our physical appearance. So our physiology is the first stage that we really need to have a look at. This physical body is here for 100 years and no more, generally speaking. So what happens is, of course, it starts off as one cell, and then of course we've got all our strands and nervous systems and all sorts of things that could wrap around the world several times. That's how many systems and blood vessels and capillaries and all sorts of things we have inside us. So we're pretty complex, physiologically speaking. And of course, in that physiology, we have a body, we have a heart and a mind at the very least. And that, when we come into Earth, is of course, our consciousness thinks that we're still attached to mother and father. It does not differentiate between a individual self for a while. And then of course, as we get bigger and bigger, going from that single cell through to 2 years old, 5 years old, 8 years old, we ask very fundamental and important question at 2 years old, or roundabout that time. We ask, is the world a malevolent, violent, and evil place? Or is the world a beautiful place where I can grow and actualize myself and be free, not to develop any personas or masks to keep me safe from the monsters that lurk about? So from that time that decision's made, we take a path, a journey in life, and that doesn't stop evolving. So we come in here, we can't walk, we need to be fed, we of course are codependent, we need to be looked after until that body is big enough for us to look after ourselves. And then of course we hit puberty, we hit our prime, and of course then a decline, physiologically speaking. Being intellectual only gets you so far in this life. Of course, if you overthink anything, it becomes negative. So being an intellect is not enough. It won't satisfy the soul. It won't fill a void if you have one inside. And we need to get there through tapping into our emotions. Our emotions are far, far broader than the mind is. They seem boundless, and they seem scarier because they are boundless, without limits. Where our mind is very ordered, our emotions might be more chaotic. And to cross from the psychological into the emotional stage of our lives, we need to traverse what I call the dark night of the soul and get there, way down at the bottom where 6 o'clock would be. We are the furthest away from our starting point than we will ever be again. Our true nature, innate values and true selves are a distant, foggy memory, and some people spend more time than others moving away from their true selves. But this metaphorical low point of the dark night is where many people become ill, die, become addicted, depressed. They lose relationships and become isolated, disconnected. But life, of course, doesn't stop there. Even if we do become addicted or depressed, avoid life as much as we can. And this sea of emotions, people are always saying, is this all there is? Is there no corner to turn? Am I always going to be this way? And no, you're not. Life is about liminal spaces. It's about impermanence, and it's about the journey. Life is always going somewhere. And to know that that is true, look around, become a scientist, a human scientist, and see how it is for other people, not subjectively, but rather objectively, and discover similarities, not just differences, where you can see how certain people are becoming calmer, more conscious, they're becoming more spiritual perhaps, and having overcome harsh trials in life, they become more open and softer, not harder and more closed down. And finding and dealing with and then regulating and managing our emotions set us up. They lay the foundation for our spiritual selves, or what we call our sacred selves, to emerge. And a spiritual self, for me, is really a truthful or authentic self. Simply meaning that you can look inside without any masks, without any need to create fear, distraction, or distortion. That is the spiritual journey. And it's like shining light all the way through the depths of each stage of life and being okay with what you find there. To hold a spiritual self is far more complex than it is to hold just a physical self. So it looks like throughout life these stages prep us and set us up for something better and better each time. There's a lot more to life than just having a body. There's a lot more to life than just being able to think. And of course, being able to feel the depths and connect to nature, all things spiritual, all things universal, on a deep level is awe-inspiring. It comes with a magnitude of bliss and joy and peace beyond our understanding. So this life is unfolding for us. There's a pattern, there is a trajectory that we are all on. There are some places that we need to go and get to, and other places that we need to leave in order to get there. So traversing this life through stage 1, 2, 3, and 4, the physiological, psychological, emotional, and spiritual, does have deep meaning. And it's good to remember that when you're in times of crisis. Of course, it's easy to forget at those times. But if you can remember that life is happening for you, of course not just to you, you can understand that there is method to madness, that there is order inside the chaos. And life, just like consciousness, is being revealed to us a day at a time, an experience at a time. So whether it's good or bad, nothing lasts forever and nothing stays the same. Everything is constantly changing in this world, including you and including me. All we have to do is remember and trust the process of life. And then we'll have a far easier journey, and perhaps one that we can even enjoy.